Wintertime patterns. You know, here in South Texas, we don't have a solid winter all through the winter, so it's going to depend on the water temperature in your area. And the numbers I've been fishing by that are still working for me, anything between 65 and above, you can pretty much always find fish in shallow, and usually low 60s also. Basically, the number that works for me is mid to upper 50s, or anything below 60. It's going to be borderline of when they might actually go in deep. So I'm a shallow water fisherman, and I love fishing shallow. And you know, I'm not a huge fan of fishing deep, but when that water temp is in the 50s, I have to fish deep. You know, they're just too cold and they don't like to go in shallow. So I'll give you a few scenarios. Maybe you're fishing grass flats or stuff like that, and you've been doing real good, you know, in the fall and in the summer and springtime as well. And then you get into the winter time and that temperature gets in the 50s, the water temperature. Pay attention to the water temperature, not the air temperature. And then they drop off into deeper channels and deeper creeks and things like that. So here's a good scenario right here. We got some grass flat stuff all over here on the left. This tannish, darker color is all grass flats. And then you have a deeper channel right over here. The deeper blue color on Google Earth and even up into here will be your deeper water. So whenever that water temp is above 60, and these are close numbers, it's not no exact number, but it's pretty dang close. So if it's above 60, you're probably going to catch them in these shallow flats. But when it drops down into the 50s, they're going to go into the deeper channels. So water temperatures in your area. So I've been using NOAA for a few weeks, and I am really liking this website. So go to NOAA Tides and Currents and click your state. We fish in South Texas, and then they have all these tide buoys. Not all of the tide buoys read everything you want them to read. So if we're just looking for water temperature, you can find one that reads the water temperature, and I know this one in Rockport reads it. So water temperature, it says right here, 62.6. So that's, you know, that's the low 60s. It's definitely borderline pretty dang cold, but we found them in shallow today, real shallow. So we had wintertime patterns like, I don't know, last week for about a week or so. The water temp was 56, 57. And I wasn't seeing any activity in shallow, so we fished deeper, and we did real good last week deeper. And then now today, it was my first day to fish because I went out of town for Thanksgiving. Hopefully y'all had a good Thanksgiving too. Today we got on the water, and the water temp was about 61. So I was, you know, I was thinking maybe they'll be in shallow, you know. So I tried some shallow scenarios. We were only catching short fish, and then I tried another real shallow scenario, and there were plenty of them in there. So NOAA will give you the water temperature, and then you can also click on more data and water levels, and you can get the tides. So the blue line is your predicted tide, and then the red line is what is confirmed. So your blue line is what all the fishing apps are reading, you know, all that's based on historical data. But this website shows you the confirmed tide level because those tide buoys are reading it every day, and these are confirmed. And I've been going by this for a few weeks now, and I'm starting to really like this website. So y'all can check it out, NOAA, and get some good readings on the tide and the water temperature. So you can also go back. You can click on older dates over here and go back and see what the tides were doing when you had a good day. Or maybe if you're a shallow water fisherman, you can go back to a time when you went off into a back lake and you were barely getting through there. It was so shallow. And you can go back and see what the confirmed water level was. And so if you put your mouse on these lines, it'll show you preliminary 0.48 feet above zero. So that's about a half a foot, you know, above zero. And then if you move it and look on the higher tide, you know, 0.76 feet, and you can get an idea of what water level you need to get into some of the shallow areas. And then the time that you couldn't get in there because it was so shallow and you were getting stuck, you know, pay attention to this. Try this website. Like I said, it's kind of new for me, but I am liking it. Try the website and try to put together your tide levels and how much tide level do you need to get into certain lakes, and then make a chart like I've been doing. And now all I got to do is, if I know I needed 1 foot above zero in order to fish a real shallow lake, all I have to do is check this the day before and see what the tides were doing, because they're pretty similar from, you know, within a 24-hour period, or, you know, from day to day, just a couple days in a row. The tides are usually pretty similar, so it'll give you an idea whether you can get off in there or not. So back to wintertime. So it wasn't wintertime patterns today, or probably this whole week it's not going to be. It's going to be kind of warm, and still catching them on the 6 cents movement 80 wake bait, and this only dives about 1 foot at the max, and this is a fast moving bait. And whenever those water temperatures are over 60, the search baits, they work good. So I also caught one today on a gulp swimming mullet. But when we're fishing those deeper channels, things like the Voodoo shrimp are working real good for me. I've been using the 3 1/4, and that's a good size lure. It doesn't sink too fast. It looks realistic to me. The bigger ones, the 3 1/2 Voodoo, they're like a 1/4 ounce, and I'm not saying they don't work, but for me, I'd rather it sink a little bit slower. I catch them on the fall all the time with this. It doesn't show the weight size, but I'm pretty sure it's 1/8 ounce. It's not near as heavy as the 3 1/2 inch. So I catch them on the fall because it falls, you know, a little bit slower in those deeper channels. And if I'm fishing deeper channels, I don't have to worry about weedless things quite so much, because there's not any there's not really any submerged grass in the deeper channels. So all your grass is going to be in a little bit more shallow. So that grass needs sunlight to grow, I would assume. Or any of your paddle tails, they will work. Just put them on a jig head, a 1/8 ounce, and the paddle tails will work. You don't really need to upsize to 5 inch. 5 inch will work. It'll catch them, you know, and it is, for me, that's a little bit more of a wintertime deal by upsizing, but I'm still catching them on the 3 and the 4 inch soft plastic. So I had a trip with Artie today. I appreciate you, man. It's going to be his birthday next week, and this was his birthday trip. And since the water temperature was so borderline, whether they're going to be shallow or not, we started off just a little bit deeper. I didn't go straight to the channels today. I knew it wasn't going to be that cold for them to be that deep. But we tried some a little bit deeper flat areas, you know, 2 foot, some of it a little bit, you know, around 3 foot, and you know, we just weren't catching any good ones. We were just catching short ones. So another thing to consider is let the bait tell you whether the fish are in shallow or not. On the real cold days and the real cold mornings, I don't see any bait fish moving around in shallow. Everything is in deeper. But if you have a day that starts to warm up, then the bait and the fish will go in shallow. So look for the bait signs and let the bait tell you, you know, what's going on. So the fish will follow the bait, and seeing the bait is a lot easier than seeing the fish most of the time. So let the bait be your friend. You don't really have to change things very much on the lures that you use. You can catch them on all the lures all year round, but you may need to slow it down on the colder days. So on the real cold days, I'm just barely popping it off the bottom. I'm not giving it hard bumps and making that lure go way up and down like I do when it's warmer. So try slowing the lure down when it's real cold, and you'll get a lot more hits like that. So Real Cause Fishing, the shirts that I wear, the hats that I wear most of the time. Don't forget, you can get 20% off by using the code CFF. All of that stuff is on my website, cleanfunfishing.com. The areas that I fish, I have a membership page if you want to know exactly where I'm catching fish every single week. All this stuff and more is on there. So a lot of my members are catching fish. Check it out if y'all want to book a trip. I do have openings. It slows down for me a little bit in the winter. I have openings starting the second week of December. So if y'all want to book a trip, all that's on my website. Thanks for watching. Let's go get those lines tight. Big one. We got a little guy with him too. That's a big old red. You see the wakes and stuff? I've spooked 3 already. Yeah. We're just gonna work our way to the back side, you know, and there goes another one. See his wake? There's a few of them waking out right in front of you. Yeah. Yeah. There's quite a few in here. You got him? There you go, man. There we go. It counts for a double hookup. That's a pretty good fish. Pretty good. It might make a slot. Oh, he got off. There you go. That's a good one I already got. Oh yeah. Dang. Nothing wrong with that. Look at this guy right here. Look at y'all see. Damn, there's 2 or 3 of them right here. There you go, man. On the weight bait still? Yeah. Another good one. Dang. Oh boy, eat it, man. Eat it. He was freaking swirling and turning and golly, they're freaking all in this cove. that one tailing right there to the right of my lure. Oh, there you go. Weight bait doing it. Man, what's wrong with that? Wake bait, I switched right back to it. Heck yeah. There's another little bitty lake through this creek. We can go through there a little bit and then maybe start heading back in. Yeah, they're slowing down though, the activity. Remember the amount of bigger movements we were seeing at first? Yeah, there's a little creek that we gotta go through because it's getting kind of shallow, that the tides are dropping out. There's some movement on the left and that very back little cove. Yeah. He ate it. Captain Obvious. Uh-oh, get out of there. Boy. Heck yeah. Low end slot, you gotta be about 21, I guess. Let's see. So 20 and a half, something like that. Put your tail down, dude. Yeah, 20 and a half.